Use the blue torque driver and security bit to remove and discard the 2 security screws next to the lightning connector. Place the iPhone in the universal display removal fixture. Position the upper suction cup close to the edge of the home button without touching it. Adjust the lower suction cup to match the position of the upper one. Place the fixture with the iPhone on a flat ESD-safe surface. Press and hold the release button. Move the lever down to secure the suction cups. Lock the suction cups in position. Press and hold the release button. Gently separate the metal bars until resistance is felt. Do not use excessive force. Turn the knob on the adapter until the display begins to separate from the enclosure. Insert the display adhesive cutter on the bottom of the phone between the display and the enclosure. Holding the tool perpendicular to the edge of the display, slide it along one side of the enclosure to release the display. Roll the tool back and forth until it moves with no resistance. Starting at the bottom on the other side, roll the tool between the display and the enclosure until the display releases completely. Be careful when cutting the right side. Cutting too deep may damage the display cables inside. Unlock the suction cups. Pull the tabs on the front suction cups to release the iPhone. Remove the iPhone from the fixture. Place it on a flat ESD-safe surface. Insert the display adhesive cutter near the top of the display. Holding the bottom of the display, gently pull down to release the clips on the top of the display. Cut between the display and the enclosure until the top of the display is free. Never pry the display. It will damage the display and the enclosure. Don't lift the display more than 15 degrees to avoid damaging the display flexes inside. Place the iPhone in the repair tray. Gently lift and tilt the display open to the right. Press along the edges of the display to secure the display to the suction cup. Always handle the display assembly by the edges. Do not press on the backplate. It could easily damage the 3D touch functionality. Remove and discard the 4 screws on the battery display cowling. Remove the cowling. Save it for reuse. Use a black stick to disconnect the battery from the logic board. Use a black stick to disconnect the 2 stacked display flexes. Remove and discard the 3 screws from the camera display cowling. Use tweezers to remove the cowling. Save it for reuse. Use a black stick to disconnect the display flex. Holding the display by the edges, remove the display assembly and the suction cup. Remove the iPhone from the repair tray and place it on a clean, flat surface. Use a black stick to remove the adhesive around the display and enclosure. Don't clean the adhesive off the black stick. It helps lift any remaining adhesive from the enclosure and display. Clean the enclosure and display thoroughly with an IPA wipe to ensure a proper seal during reassembly. Squeeze any excess liquid from the IPA wipe before cleaning the display. Be sure that liquid doesn't puddle in the corners of the display or seep under the backplate.
The enclosure needs to be clean for the new PSA to adhere correctly. Once it is clean, complete any other repairs that are needed. You should also inspect the display clips for damage before you begin reassembly.
With the tab on the bottom right, align the display adhesive with the enclosure. Starting at the bottom edge of the enclosure, slowly remove the bottom release liner while pressing the adhesive into the enclosure. If the adhesive is not properly aligned, remove it and repeat the process with a new display adhesive. Use a black stick to adhere the display adhesive to the enclosure. Press lightly on the entire perimeter of the phone. Be careful not to press on the camera. Starting at the center section, use tweezers to remove the 4 pieces of the top release liner. Place the iPhone in the repair tray. Align the display with the enclosure and gently press the edges to secure it to the suction cup. Connect the upper display flex. Press down gently, applying even pressure along the entire length of the connector to ensure proper seating. Install the camera display cowling. Use the black torque driver to secure the cowling with 3 new crosshead screws. Connect the stacked lower flex connectors. Press down gently, applying even pressure along the entire length of each connector. Connect the battery to the logic board. Install the battery display cowling. Use the green torque driver to secure the cowling with 4 new crosshead screws. Loosen the display by pulling the tab on the suction cup. Remove the suction cup. Remove the top release liner. Beginning near the camera, remove it in a counterclockwise direction. Beginning near the speaker, remove the second piece of the liner in a counterclockwise direction. Gently tilt the display down. Avoid stressing or damaging the display flexes. Position the top of the display over the enclosure and lower it into position. Gently press the 4 corners so the display clicks into place and fits flush with the enclosure. Place the phone and tray in the display press. Align the holes in the tray with the pins on the fixture. Lower the lever until the press locks. Wait until the press timer beeps. Push the lever slightly down and pull the knob on the locking pin. Raise the lever. Remove the iPhone and repair tray from the fixture. Remove the iPhone from the repair tray. Ensure that the adhesive has not leaked out between the enclosure and the display. If the adhesive has leaked out, repeat the process with new display adhesive. Install 2 new security screws. If you replace the display on iPhone 8 or iPhone SE 2nd generation, run Repair Cal. If you replace the display on iPhone SE 3rd generation, run System Configuration.
Tweezers. Use tweezers to carefully pull up the exposed ends of the battery adhesive tabs on the bottom of the phone. Grasp one of the adhesive strips and slowly pull it toward the bottom of the enclosure. Pull slowly to prevent the strip from tearing. Keep the strip low to prevent damaging the battery case. Don't let the strip rub against components at the bottom of the enclosure. If the adhesive strip breaks, use tweezers to retrieve the broken strip. If the strip cannot be retrieved, move on to the other adhesive strip. Don't attempt to pry up the battery. Pull steadily until the adhesive strip releases. Grasp the adhesive strip on the other side. Slowly pull toward the bottom of the enclosure until it releases. Rotate the repair tray. Use pointed tweezers to pull up the exposed ends of the battery adhesive tabs on the top of the battery.
On iPhone SE 3rd generation, the large tab on the top of the battery has a perforation that separates into 2 as you lift it from the battery.
Use the tweezers to grasp the adhesive strip and roll it. Slowly roll the strip around the tweezers until the white adhesive shows. Then, continue rolling while pulling the strip around the corner of the battery until it releases. Do not let the strip rub against components or the top of the enclosure. Grasp the adhesive strip on the other side. Use the tweezers to grasp the adhesive strip and roll it onto the tweezers. Slowly roll the strip until the white adhesive shows. Then, continue rolling while pulling the strip around the corner of the battery until it releases. Don't rub against components or the enclosure. Use a black stick to gently lift the battery. Never attempt to force or pry the battery out. If the battery gives any resistance, stop the repair and replace the whole unit. Remove the battery. Use IPA wipes to clean the enclosure. Be sure not to scrape or wipe the Mylar. It may damage the wireless charging unit beneath it. Now, let's replace the battery. Remove the pink release liner from the battery. Tilt the right edge of the battery into the enclosure. Connect the battery to the logic board. Carefully lay the battery in the center of the enclosure. Place the phone and repair tray in the iPhone battery fixture. Align the slot on the repair tray with the pin on the fixture. Lower the red lever to move the pressure roller into place above the battery. Slide the repair tray back and forth through the battery fixture 3 times to adhere the battery to the enclosure. Raise the red lever. Remove the tray from the fixture. Use a black stick to disconnect the battery cable from the logic board. Remove and discard the crosshead screw from the bottom right of the camera cowling. Remove and discard the super screw from the upper left of the camera cowling. Remove the cowling. Save it for reuse. Use a black stick to disconnect the camera flex cable from the logic board. Use a black stick to tilt the camera up. Remove the camera from the enclosure. So the camera is a very sensitive component. To prevent dust or other material from contaminating the camera, always hold it with the lens pointed down, especially once you remove the protective cover. Check that there is no debris in the enclosure. Remove the protective lens cover from the replacement camera. Position the replacement camera over the enclosure. Connect the camera flex cable to the logic board. Ensure that it's properly seated. Gently press the camera into position. Reinstall the camera cowling. Don't bend or stress the ends of the camera cowling. Install both of the camera cowling screws partially first, then ensure the camera and cowling are properly seated before tightening the screws. Use the green torque driver and JCIS bit to install a new crosshead screw on the upper left side of the camera cowling. Install a new crosshead screw in the lower right with the green torque driver. Verify the cowling and screws are properly seated, and then tighten the screws. Once you complete the repair and reinstall the display, run the AST2 Camera Image Quality Suite to calibrate the camera. Check the links on this page below for the service guide and other information. That's it for now. See
Remove and discard the 3 screws from the Taptic Flex cowling. Remove it and save it for reuse. Remove and discard the crosshead screw from the Taptic Engine. Remove the grounding clip with tweezers and save it for reuse. Use a black stick to disconnect the Wi-Fi flex from the logic board. Remove and discard the super screw from the Taptic Engine. Use a black stick to hold down the flex stack and gently lift the Wi-Fi antenna up with tweezers. Gently lift the Wi-Fi flex toward the speaker. Don't bend it more than 90 degrees to avoid damaging it. Peel the LAT connector away from adhesive on the Taptic Flex and lift it away from the Taptic Flex. Avoid excessive movement of the flex to avoid damaging or disconnecting it from the enclosure. Disconnect the Taptic Flex. Remove the Taptic Engine by lifting the right side and sliding the left side out from under the grounding clip. Tilt the left side of the Taptic Engine into place under the grounding clip and over the standoff. Then, lay it down. Use tweezers to place the cowling. Use the green torque driver to install a new crosshead screw on the left side of the Taptic engine. Secure the Taptic engine with one super screw on the right using the green torque driver. Connect the Taptic flex. Swing the LAT flex gently to verify it is connected to the enclosure near the dock. If not, reconnect the flex. Position the LAT flex over the Taptic flex. Connect the Wi-Fi and LAT flexes and fold them into position. Connect the Wi-Fi flex to the logic board. Use tweezers to place the Taptic flex cowling. Then install two new crosshead screws near the lightning connector with the green torque driver. Secure the top of the cowling with a new microstick screw and the black torque driver. Follow the reassembly steps in Open Device. Remove and discard two crosshead screws on the speaker. Remove and discard the super screw on the speaker. Stabilize the logic board by gently placing a black stick in the corner, then lightly press down on the speaker with your finger. Be careful not to lift or bend the logic board. Slide the speaker slightly toward the logic board so the bottom of the speaker clears the speaker port. Lift the bottom of the speaker up and remove the speaker. There is a tab in the upper left corner of the speaker that slides between the enclosure and the logic board. Be careful not to break the tab or bend the logic board when removing or replacing the speaker. Reinstall the Taptic engine and secure it with new screws. Then, connect the Taptic flex. Swing the LAT flex gently to verify it is connected to the enclosure near the dock. If not, reconnect the flex. Reinstall the speaker. Be sure the tab goes under the logic board and above the screw boss. Stabilize the logic board by gently placing a black stick in the corner and with your finger. Lightly push down on top of the speaker to fit it under the logic board. Then, slide the speaker back so the bottom fits into the port in the enclosure. Use the green torque driver and super screw bit to install one new super screw. Use the green torque driver and JCIS bit to install two new crosshead screws. Connect the Wi-Fi flex to the flex stack. Connect the Wi-Fi flex to the logic board. Reinstall the Taptic engine cowling. Secure it with two new crosshead screws using the green torque driver. Install a new microsticks screw using the black torque driver. Follow the reassembly steps in Open Device. Run the AST2 diagnostic suite. If AST2 isn't available, perform iPhone functional test in TP1045.